You're listening to Elliot Stories, real voices, real experiences, and unforgettable truths. Here, we tell the stories that others overlook, the ones buried in silence, fear, and misunderstanding. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're a returning listener, thank you for continuing to walk with us through stories that matter. Today's story is about judgment, silence, survival, and the power of knowing exactly who you are. What began as a routine drive home turned into a moment that could have been deadly. But what happened next shocked everyone. It was a Thursday evening in Atlanta when Taylor Mason left the gym, just like she always did. She wasn't just a self-defense instructor, she was someone who had survived enough in life to know how quickly peace could turn to panic. She had just wrapped her last class of the day, locked up the space, tossed her gym bag in the front seat, and climbed into her black SUV. Everything about her evening was clockwork. She didn't speed. She didn't roll through any stop signs. Her registration was current, and she always used her signal. But just 10 minutes after pulling out of the gym lot, she noticed the headlights behind her, closer than usual. Then came the sirens. Her stomach dropped, but her hands stayed steady. Taylor had been stopped before, but she never got used to the way it made her feel, like suddenly, nothing about her good record or calm demeanor could protect her from being misunderstood. She pulled over onto a quiet residential street. Windows up. Engine off. Hands clearly visible on the wheel. The sound of car doors slamming hit her ears before she could even lower her window. Then came the shouting. Hands on the wheel. Step out of the vehicle now. It was instant chaos. No time for questions. No time for explanations. 4 white officers. Guns drawn. Laser sights flickering across her chest like some kind of cruel spotlight. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. Her voice came out low and even, the way she'd practiced all her life. I am a licensed carrier. My firearm is secured in my glove compartment. I am not armed. I am not resisting. They didn't respond. Instead, one of them yanked open her door while another grabbed her wrist and twisted it behind her back. She was slammed face first onto the hood of her own vehicle. The cold metal burned her skin. Still, she didn't fight. She'd seen too many stories end that way. She'd promised herself she'd live to tell hers. One officer muttered into his radio, giving out her plates. Another glanced at her gym bag and scoffed, probably got all kinds of stuff in there. The way he said it made her want to laugh, but it wasn't funny. It was terrifying. That's when the radio crackled again. The dispatcher's voice cut through everything. Negative ID. Repeat. Negative. Suspect still at large, black sedan, not SUV. Your stop does not match the vehicle description. For a moment, nobody moved. Then one of the officers cleared his throat, took a half step back, and mumbled, "We, may have made a mistake." Taylor stood slowly, brushing herself off with her cuffed hands. Her wrists throbbed, but her voice never wavered. "You didn't make a mistake," she said. "You made an assumption." The lead officer tried to smooth things over. "We're just doing our job, Standard procedure. You matched a description." "I matched nothing but your fear," she replied. "And you're about to learn who I really am." She looked him squarely in the eye and said calmly, "Call Director Owens." The officer blinked. "Who?" "Call her," she repeated. "You'll want her here." 15 minutes later, 2 black SUVs pulled up. These weren't patrol cars. These weren't local officers. A woman stepped out, sharp grey suit, badge flashing from her belt. She was composed but deadly serious. Her name was Director Lena Owens, head of the State Civilian Review Board. She walked right up to the lead officer and said, "Uncuff her. Now." He hesitated. "I said now." He obeyed. Taylor rubbed her wrists, said nothing. Director Owens turned toward her, gave a brief nod, then looked back at the officers. "You just handcuffed a certified firearms instructor, a licensed carrier, a decorated Air Force veteran, and one of the people who trains your superiors in conflict de-escalation." Silence. "You had no right to approach her the way you did. You escalated without assessment. You endangered a civilian because you saw her color before you saw her license plate." Nobody had anything to say. Bodycam footage was pulled that night. The footage showed it all. No announcement of the stop, no questions, no cause, just weapons and force. One of the officers was seen joking nervously, "Hope she doesn't go full Beyoncé on us." Another falsely radioed in claiming Taylor was aggressive before she had even spoken. By sunrise, 2 of the officers had been suspended. The lead officer was demoted, and the Internal Affairs Department launched a full investigation. But Taylor didn't go to the news. She didn't stand behind a podium with a lawyer. She didn't demand apologies. Instead, she held a small press session attended by a few trusted local reporters and said what was on her heart. "I wasn't lucky," she said. "I was prepared. I knew what to say. I had someone to call. But most women who look like me don't. I was calm, not because I wasn't scared, but because I've been training for this moment since I was 15. That's not a compliment to me. That's an indictment of this system." She took a breath, voice still steady, but eyes filled with something deeper than rage. There is nothing more terrifying to some people than a black woman who knows her rights and knows how to defend herself legally, mentally, and physically. "You didn't stop me because I was a threat. You stopped me because you couldn't imagine I was qualified to exist peacefully." After that day, Taylor expanded her non-profit program called Vigilance Black. She started offering free legal rights workshops for black teens. She increased her women's defense classes by 200%. She began collaborating with civil rights attorneys and police departments to implement more realistic training centered on implicit bias. And the best part? She did it quietly. No hashtags. No drama. Just results. She received an anonymous email weeks later. No name. Just one line. "I was there that night. I should have said something. I'm sorry." She closed the message and deleted it. Not out of anger, but because she didn't need an apology to keep moving forward. The truth is, Taylor didn't win that night because she had power. She won because she refused to let fear steal her clarity. She didn't reach for her glove box, though she was legally allowed to. She didn't curse, though she had every reason to. She didn't run, though every instinct might have told her to. She stood, calm, trained, unshakable. Because in a world that so easily misjudges black women, her greatest weapon wasn't her license to carry. It was her license to be. And that, her dignity, her composure, her restraint, is what changed everything. Here's the truth. Fear isn't the enemy. Assumption is. And the most powerful thing any of us can do is stay grounded in who we are, especially when the world tries to define us by something we're not. This is Elliot Stories. Thank you for listening. If this story moved you, share it. Talk about it. Ask yourself how many people like Taylor don't walk away from moments like this, and what we can do to change that. Have you subscribed yet? Please do so in order not to miss the next episode coming soon. Until next time, stay aware, stay grounded, and never let the world confuse your strength for threat. We'll see you soon.